Whenever I hear this story told by the gospel writer Mark about Jesus calling the fishermen to follow him, and they get up and immediately leave their boats and follow him. Immediately, that's one of Mark's favorite words. And I always remember that the old father Zebedee, sitting in his boat or beside his boat, mending his nets, and his sons walking away from him. And I just am full of compassion. And so this story, told from his perspective, caught my attention, and I'd want to share it with you. My dear sons, I have never taken the time to write to you because, as you know, it is difficult enough for me to share my thoughts. To make a record of my fears and hopes for you causes my hands to tremble and my head to ache. Nevertheless, it is time to make this record because I don't want to forget what has happened over the last few days. We were together when we heard that John the Baptizer was imprisoned. We each had a different prediction about his life. I am not sure you will even remember because you are not quite as concerned about him as I. James, always courageous, insisted the prophet would be just fine and things would be sorted out in due time. Your patience and persistence, James, makes you such a good fisher. And you, John, my beloved dreamer, you imagine the prophet's miraculous escape, prison walls crumbling like the fortress walls fell in the old story of Jericho. In contrast to yours, my picture of John's future was entirely grim. I know the stories of the prophets who suffer and die because of the stories they tell. It pains me to admit the way I was overcome with fear as Jesus came toward our boats. I kept my head down, pretending to mend the nets because I was sure you would see the anger in my eyes. My only thought was that this would be the last time I would see my boys so light-hearted and hopeful. You two have always been such gentle companions as we worked. You so rarely fought with each other or argued with me, but I knew everything would change when Jesus approached us with his invitation to join him in his travels to teach. Fish for men? I almost snorted. It sounded more like Jesus was making a sales pitch than an invitation. You know, I am skeptical of religious zealots. Everyone I've ever known who wanted to travel with the rabbis was prone to burn with such a fury. It is my worst fear that you would lose touch with the lessons we learned as we waited and strained in the boats. The boats taught you to watch the horizon with wisdom. The work you required you to let the air and the water fill your senses so you could understand even slight changes in conditions and be sensible of the dangers all around. You must never forget that you have calm and strength in the core of who you are, my boys. As you dropped the nets and waved goodbye so casually, I knew there was nothing casual about your departure. It would have been foolish for me to call you back to me. You have no idea what you are going to encounter, and really, I don't either. I do, however, have more experience with this sort of thing. Hopefully, I can harness the experience and use it to build up my hopes and not my fears. It is time for me to let go of my fears for you two and to focus on my work. It's hard, but also important for me to tell you that as I release my fears, I will embrace a kind of hope. My new hope is that you will indeed use all that you know about fishing as you teach and learn from Jesus. You will use your physical strength and your enduring kindness. You will share the lessons you have gained by throwing them out like new nets, and the people will be caught up in the safety of wise teachings. Only time will bring answers to my questions. Most importantly, my sons, I am not going to seethe with anger over your departure or Jesus' influence over you. I am proud to call you my sons and glad that you follow your hearts. Your father, Zebedee.